going on, guys? Ray Zeus bringing you another Black Ops 4 commentary. This one's like a hardcore Dom gameplay. But again, this is going to be like a ESO rant V2 video. And there's my cute little sexy unicorn camo for the GKS, you know, because I'm so masculine. But anyway, back on topic. This video is pretty much going to be about things that I and a few other people think needs changed in ESO for it to just be balanced. I know everybody that watches this video is really going to be like, well, why nerf this, why nerf that? Because this is going to be an unbiased video of changes. It's unbiased. I mentioned nerfs on the classes that I play. I mentioned buffs on classes that I don't. It's completely unbiased. This is what the game needs for it to be balanced. Magsork's fine where it's at. Make pets single barrable, because pets are useless in the game. There's no utility from a pet in PvP. Make them act like birds, like the pets from like the Warden. Revert the changes to Rune Cage. I think it should still be undodgeable and unblockable. It just reduce the range. Make it like Fossilized. Same range as Fossilized. This should be the exact same. Stam Sort. I don't know why Stam Sort needed a nerf. I don't. I think you should revert the changes to Shuffle, but that's more like a medium armor change. Medium this patch is useless. There's no point running medium versus heavy and light. I think Stam Sorts need a class spammable, like a Stam version of the Atro or a pet spammable. But Stam, I mean, bring back the overload bar, because the thing is with Stam Sort, Dizzy sucks. There's no point. Like if you've tried using a Dizzy build on any class, it's unusable, and that's what you're forced to use because Stam Sort doesn't have any class utility for Stam. Magblade, I don't have any issues with Magblade this patch either. But I think you should revert the changes to bow and make you keep track of the buff. Like tone down the damage by like maybe 10% on the bow, but reduce the amount of light attacks it takes to proc it by 1. So overall you're getting more damage, it's just you're not hitting a 25k bow. But as far as Nightblades in general, I think Cloak needs a nerf. And I will scream it from the rooftops that Cloak does need a nerf. You shouldn't be able to reset the fight on will without any repercussions at all. If you use Cloak, there should be, just like it is with Streak, it should have increased costs for every time you use it within a certain amount of period. I mean, it just shouldn't be a thing. Now, as far as Stamblade, same Cloak changes. Take away the Defile or the extra damage that NCAP gives, because you get it so fast that an ult just like that one should not have so much utility. And I know there's so many Nightblades out there that go, oh, my pussy hurts, I'm a Nightblader, not from my class. Well, guess what? It shouldn't be like that to begin with. Sorry. But, I mean, you have so much uptime on Defile and the damage that by the time you use it and get it back, it's with all the passes, you just get it back too fast. And same goes like Surprise Attack. I personally think it should be like Minor Fracture instead of Major Fracture, or give the Fracture a cooldown. And same goes with Standing. I'm pretty sure Beetles still gives Fracture. It should be the same concept. There should not be an AoE Fracture. Magden, reduce the class utility from Wardens in general. Like, there's so much group utility from a Warden that Warden and Templars outperform every other class in the game overall in a group. I personally think you should take away the stun from Permafrost. Either that or make it to where it roots instead of stuns. I mean, there's so much ult gain on a Warden. You have that up so much, and it does so much damage, and the stun from that is so unreliable to break from. Either fix the stun or make it root instead. I don't think it should be a stun, but the class itself needs a class stun. I mean, it does. They shouldn't have took it away. If they were going to take it away, they should have put it somewhere else other than the ability that they put it on this patch. That ability that they made the class stun on this patch sucks, and nobody's going to use it versus like Clinch from the Destro. Stam Warden, same goes. I mean, you have way too much utility and way too much burst potential for what it is. I think Beetles in general needs toned down a bit. Anything that does that much damage, and it's AoE damage, and you pair that with an ult, it's too much. I just think it's too strong in the state it is. I think you should take away like toughness or mending or something in the passes, because they're too tanky for what they are, and they do too much damage. Like they're probably, Wardens are probably the strongest overall class in the game, second to Magic and Templars. Stam DK sucks, and I know there's a lot of people that main Stam DK. There's a lot of close friends of mine that use Stam DK, but overall Stam DK sucks. It has no class spammable. The only thing that you have execute potential with is if you defile them up, put dots on them, and use an ult. And then if you run into a healer or somebody that can purify or purge your shit, there's nothing you can do. Like, I mean, there's nothing you can do to kill them. And they're tanky and they do a lot of damage, but the thing is they don't have enough burst potential. And I think it needs sustain changes. I think DKs in general need Battle Roar buffed again. I don't think it should be buffed to the point where it was a long time ago before one Tamriel, when Mag DKs and Stam DKs were best in slot. Like, you couldn't compete with DKs in general then. But the sustain on DKs suck, and it's because they nerf everything. Like, they keep nerfing things into the dirt. But I mean, like I said, there's no burst potential for Stam DK other than your leap and dots, and maybe if you have reverb on with a defile. And Mag DK, I mean, if we're talking about an unbiased position standpoint, I play Mag DK. I love Mag DK, but wings are too strong. I think you should reduce the amount of things that it reflects from wings by, like, I don't know, bring it down 1 so it only reflects 2. Increase the cost by like 10 or 20%, and give like a 25% chance for wings not to reflect a projectile. That's how you balance wings. Give a class execute, like all other classes in the game. I think a Stam DK and a Mag DK, they need a class execute. That would resolve a lot of burst potential and all kinds of other bullshit problems that DKs have. Stamplars, they're fine this patch. I think they're in a pretty strong position. I think Power of the Light should have like a 12% cap instead of like a 20% cap, and you should only be able to apply it to one person. But other than that, Stamplars, like, okay, if you're going to nerf Power of the Light or whatever, like, give it a 12% cap and only apply to one person, but it does like a 5% of that damage to the surrounding enemies instead. I think that would balance it. Magplars, last but definitely not fucking least, Magplars. Revert the fucking rune changes. If you are standing still in your rune, it should still be a self-applied buff. I think, like all other classes, you should have your self-applied armor buff. However, a class that just stands there and blocks and heals should not have extra resistances for standing still and blocking. That just shouldn't be a thing. Just get rid of that shit in general. Nerf Purify. I mean, it only gets rid of 2 things instead of 5. Make it cost the same as Purge, which does the same shit in the support line. Like, Purify, you can negate so much damage just from Purify, especially if somebody's running a dot build. And there's no counter to it other than Defile. Breath of Life and its morphs, I mean, increase the cost per use, but just like they did with Cloak or Streak, but like maybe increase the cost by an X amount, but decrease the base cost, like in between the cooldown where it's going to cost more, by 10%. That's how you balance a healer. Like, right now in the state of the game, healers are invincible, and that's just how it is, especially if they're in a group. Make it where you can interrupt healing ult like you used to be able to. Like, especially because they take reduced damage while they're healing too. Like, if you're gonna pop a healing ult, you should be vulnerable. And that's not the way it should be. Like, there should be a counter to it, and there's not. Nerf Radiant fucking Destruction, man. Like, you should not be able to have an execute from full health do so much damage, especially with no spell damage or max magic or anything that gives you damage. You still do just as much damage as a DPS character, and I said that in my last video. Let's see. Make the bubble more reliable to break. Like, at this point, man, like, if it's laggy at all, you can't break that bubble. You can't, and it's broken. On to abilities that need changed or fixed, nerfed, whatever, call it what you will. Soul Assault. As from the healer perspective, I am a very, like, even on my mag DK, if I'm blocking it, that shit'll still hit me for 10k from somebody that doesn't have any spell damage or any damage at all. It's broken. Like, reduce the channel or something, like cut it in half or something. That's too strong of an ability that doesn't cost anything. I know you're vulnerable while you're casting Soul Assault, but fuck me, if you're by yourself, you can't, like, if they Soul Assault you, you can't do anything about it. You might get lucky and burst them down before they kill you, but it's rare. Fix snipe, please. The desync from snipe needs to be fixed, and the developers saying it's working as intended are retards. I mean, there's nothing worse than you're Xing 4, 5, 6 people, and all of a sudden you just flop on the ground and your character is just rolling around on the floor like he's having a seizure, and you've been dead for 10, 20 seconds, but you can't respond, you don't even know what happened, your resources drained, and you're just dead. Fix the desync, please. Take away the foul. Like, reduce the range on snipe, something. I think you should take away the defile. Anything that has 42, well, I think it's like 48 meters, should not have a defile, period. Especially something that's spammable and does a shit ton of damage. That shouldn't even be a thing. I think right now the meta with Steel Tornadoes is broken. I mean, it's like, what, 50% is when it starts doing damage, extra damage? Bring that in line with all the other class executes. It's like 25k, or 25%. That shouldn't be a thing. Like, somebody could just come in and do nothing but spin to win, and you can't out-heal it. And then you pair that with, like, a Stamina that spin to wins, or a Stam Sword that's got all these bleeds on you. You can't out-heal it. You can't counter it. I think on to other things that need nerfed, sets, like proc sets. All the proc sets, including Valken, if we're speaking unbiasedly, they need nerf. They need taken out of the game, something. Reactive should go. You shouldn't take less damage when you're stunned. That's when you should be most vulnerable. Earth Gore. Just take that shit out of the fucking game. Get rid of it. Nerf Troll King. I think there should be a cooldown on Troll King, and there's not. Zon. I mean, make line of sight more reliable. Make it blockable like it is with Soul Assault. Like, I think, because you can block Valken. You can block all other proc sets. You need to be able to block Zon too. I think you should nerf Fury. Fury is best in slot for almost every heavy armor stand build in the game. And there's a reason that it needs nerfs, because everybody's using it. I mean, everybody's using it because it's best in slot. I think defile sets, especially AoE defile sets like Fasalas or whatever, they need to go. That's broken as shit. It shouldn't be a thing. If you take damage, you should not do defile. Defile sets in general should just go. Pirate Skeleton needs a nerf. I mean, especially on mag players. Like, you can already heal so much anyway. It doesn't matter if you're taking 30% less healing. You don't take enough damage for it to matter. I mean, that shouldn't be a thing. Let's see. On the other, let's see, we're at Argonians now. Argonians, you can be anything as an Argonian. Absolutely anything. And it works just as good as any other race in the game because of the pot sustain change that they made a while back. You shouldn't be able to pop a pot and get so many resources back. You're already getting a crap ton back for that anyway. It makes it to where any build can not be countered sustain wise because of that. I think it needs to be nerfed to an extent. I'm not going to say nerf it into the dirt like everything else, but there's something that needs to be done about it, and I'm not sure what you would do. Just tone it down a little bit. Make it to where, like, maybe every other pot that you use gives that. The stun from stealth, other than abilities that have a bonus from, like, stealth, like, for an example, surprise attack, it has a stun in its ability. That should still be there. But ages ago, before One Tamriel, they said they were going to take away the stun from stealth, and I think that's what causes a lot of the desync issues with snipe. But the stun from stealth should go. A big fucking change that needs to be done is fix the servers, especially in open world. Fix that shit, please. Give it a dedicated server. Make some, I don't even know how you'd fix it, but I think a lot of the issues that come with that is CP and all, like, take away the fucking grass. Take away all the detail, man. Like, nobody goes into Serial and be like, oh man, this is some really beautiful grass we have here. I'm so glad it's so beautiful. take that shit out. Like make it to where shit renders better. Fix the servers. You can't go like if you are 2 keeps away from a big Zerg keep fight that's got 60 people there, you're still lagging. And that shouldn't be a thing either. I think you should give incentive to small scale players. For an example, like give group nerfs. Like if you're in a group bigger than 6, like this is how you fix Zerging right here. If you're in a group bigger than 6, scaling every 4 players past 6, you get a debuff. So like at 10 players, you have like a 5% healing, sustain, and damage heal like debuff. Like by like 5%. And it scales upwards all the way up to 24. And like at 24-man group, like a full Zerg, you should have at least a flat 20% debuff past like at cap 24 group. And that'll fix Zerging. Ain't nobody gonna want to Zerg if you're walking around hitting people with light attacks. At least what it would feel like, and you can't sustain for shit, or you hit your vigor and it does a 200 tick. It's not. They would stop Zerging. Breath of Life wouldn't hit for 20k. You know, I mean that would fix small scale PvP right there. I mean, I think you should nerf NPCs. NPCs are very, very strong, especially in a keep, and there's a Zerg behind it. I mean, I don't think the changes to NPCs was the right way to go as far as keep defense. Just like the faggot in the back standing on siege shooting catapults everywhere. If you hit him, for an example, or whatever else, make it to where he can't get off that siege for 5 seconds. Make it to where everything's counterable. I mean, if we're talking about like the actual PvP side of it and not just small scale, I don't think having keep walls that have fucking 800k health was a solution. That was not a solution to the problem of getting like your back keeps taken. That shouldn't be a thing. Like when I was pushing for Imp, for an example, we had a group of 6 or 7, and we were maxed out on siege, and it still took fucking 15 minutes to get through a wall. That's way too long. And that was with no counter siege. That was like with nobody contesting. It was ridiculous. If we're talking about PvP, for an example, fix the PvP queue timers. They swore and screamed from the rooftops that they were going to fix that shit, but I still, when I log on to a character that has high MMR ranking, it takes me 15-20 minutes to find a game, and that's solo. That's not even in a group. I mean, make it to where there is no matchmaking requirements. Like there shouldn't be skill-based matchmaking in BGs or in a game that's already dying anyway. Give people incentive to BG. They did a great job with giving motifs and stuff in there, but you need to have like a polymorph or something too, like you do have for like regular PvP. Like you get those trophies or whatever that you can turn into the gladiator outfit. Make one exclusively to be BGs too. I think that would be a nice incentive for people to go in there. I personally think heavy needs nerfed. Maybe after, depending on how, if all, obviously none of these changes are going to be implemented at all. But if the changes and everything was like still too strong for like heavy armor block tanks and stuff, like I like Fuck L. I like what he does. He does some crazy shit, just sitting there tanking Zergs. But in all reality, that's something that shouldn't be a thing. You shouldn't be able to go into 20 people, just sit there and block for days and not take damage. And that kind of leads to my next point, which is there needs to be block changes. I know they said they were going to change some shit, but honestly, they said all that shit to shut us up. And nothing really got done with blocking. They nerfed the enchants and shit. That wasn't what they needed to do to block nerf or to nerf blocking. Anybody that can just sit there, and my mag DK is included in all this because I can pretty much perma block, and that shouldn't be a thing. Like perma blocking, it shouldn't be a thing. Either increase the damage you take while you're blocking after so long of blocking, or something. I don't even know how you would fix that, but there's something that needs to be done about it. As of something right now, fix the enchant bug, please. I know they said they were going to do it, but every time they say they're going to fix something, they fuck something else up in the process. But time stop. Why is that even a thing? Like, and it's spammable. Like, you can't get away from it if multiple people are using it. Make the CC from it more reliable, or take away the thing to where you shouldn't, like, you should still be able to heal in it. You know, that skill in general is broken, and I think that's what fucked up Cyrodiil for a while, last patch. I don't know, maybe buff the assault tree. Give like a class, because I mean, assault obviously should be for damage, and support obviously should be for tanking and healing. But there's really nothing in assault that's worth a shit, other than vigor. I mean, but on that topic, the assault skill line, I think, listen, with all the changes that they made for like nerfing speed, they didn't do anything to rapids. The thing that you can give to a group and you have no snare. That's fucked up. Like, if you're going to nerf speed pots, which is, again, another point, I don't think that should have been nerfed at all. That was the wrong way to fix the speed issue. Because the problem was with Swift on jewelry. You had too much speed. You had healbots run around just as fast as a stam sword with a speed pot up. And that shouldn't have been a thing either. But nerfing speed pots wasn't the answer. And that's ZeniMax's problem with shit. Is they always, like I said in my last video, they either buff something to the point to where it doesn't need buffed, or they nerf something to where it's not usable. There's no in between. There's no give or take. And ZeniMax's problem that I mentioned in my last video too is, granted, they have their class representatives that, you know, speak for everybody, but they don't listen to them. The class reps, they'll suggest their opinions, but half the things that they suggest either A, are ignored, or B, they just don't work. And they won't change anything because they're so hard-headed about making changes that matter. They want to appease everybody that doesn't matter. Like, the main problem is people make unbiased changes. Like, for an example, all the changes ages ago about Nightblades, and ever since, honestly, Nightblades haven't caught a nerf other than Shuffle in 4+ patches. And same goes with Magplar. When's the last time Magplar got a nerf? Same goes with Wardens. This patch, they buffed Wardens. Wardens were fine before. Other than Magwarden. Magwarden still needed a stun. But, like, Wardens didn't need buffed. They're already really strong overall. And giving them a sustain buff and extra damage, like, fuck, they had plenty of damage before it. I know this is a really long video. I mean, we're pushing 23 minutes right now. And I'd like to say I don't expect you to make it to this point. But if you made it to this point, you're a champion. Because you actually care about the game if you've made it to this point. And the fact of the matter is there needs to be changes to ESO. Just for the longevity of the game. Because at the rate it's going, there's not going to be a future for ESO. There's not. I mean, you're obviously going to have new players come into the game, but the diehard people that have spent years of their life playing and enjoying this game, they're going to be gone. And the same goes for me. I mean, it's gotten to the point, like I said in my last video, it's a chore. It's a fucking disaster. It's a train wreck. It's a fucking shit show at this point in the game's longevity. It is a fucking shit show. Like I said before, this pretty much wraps up the video. I'm going to try to keep this shy 25 minutes. This wraps up the video. I mean, like I said, I don't expect any of these changes to ever be made, ever. But coming from an opinion of somebody that is trying to make unbiased changes, if these changes were implemented into the game in at least some form or variation, the game would be fixed. I know you're still going to have like server issues and ZeniMax issues, but the way they keep going, they keep buffing things that don't need to be buffed, and they keep nerfing things that don't. Just let me know down in the comment section what you guys think about the video, and what you guys think about what changes I think need to be changed. I know obviously some of you people are going to be butthurt and have your feelings hurt about, oh, this, that, and the other. My class doesn't need this, doesn't need that. This is unbiased. I even nerfed my own shit. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.
Baby, I don't make it right. Said I'm close to baby. We can talk about to be mad. Hate to see you sad. Yes, I know I'm crazy, crazy about you, crazy about you.
I know I'm upset sometimes. I know I get drunk some nights. I know I get way too high. I just wanna live it up with you. I know that it might be tense. I know when you've had enough. It's just how I show my love. Darling, can I live it up with you? I'm upset sometimes. I know I get drunk some nights. I know I get way too high. I just wanna live it up with you. Darling, can I live it up with you?
Made a mistake last night. Maybe I can make it right. So I'm close to baby. We can talk about